On this day, May 29th, 2025, we gather not in mourning, but in reverence for the lives that sparked imagination, drove discovery, and echoed across time. From the silence of chalkboards and the swell of symphonies to the roar of racetracks and the pulse of cities in crisis, these individuals shaped worlds both visible and unseen. They were not merely names, but forces whose presence enriched the field of science, music, public service, and the arts. Today, we pause to honor their legacy, to remember their essence, and to say, thank you. John Boardman was a mind beyond his time, a theoretical physicist whose insights wove through the intricate fabric of mathematics and complex systems. In academic halls across the world, his name was spoken with reverence, not just for the breadth of his knowledge, but for the clarity and humility with which he shared it. Boardman delved into game theory, logic, and the boundaries between order and chaos, shaping how we understand the unpredictable systems of our universe. He was a professor, a mentor, a thinker who thrived in the realm where abstract ideas meet human curiosity. For those who had the privilege of hearing him lecture or reading his works, he wasn't merely a scholar. He was a quiet revolutionary. In the age of algorithms and artificial intelligence, his legacy endures as a guiding star of intellect and exploration. Alf Clausen didn't just write music. He gave iconic shows their soul, with a career that danced between comedy and classical brilliance. Clausen composed the soundtrack of Generation, most famously for Simpsons, where his offbeat yet sophisticated orchestrations turned satire into symphony. His genius wasn't in bombast, but in nuance. The wink of a violin, the irony in a trombone, the heart tucked inside a joke. Over 3 decades, Clausen scored more than 500 episodes, infusing animation with full orchestral palette, elevating cartoons into something timeless. Beyond Springfield, his melodies graced Moonlighting, Alf, and countless other shows that relied on his unique fusion of humor and harmony. He was a maestro of mischief, a conductor of cultural memory. Though the baton rests, the music lives on in every laugh, every rerun, every opening theme that makes us smile. Mike Eddy roared through life with the determination of a true American racer. On the short tracks of the American Speed Association, ASA, he carved out a legacy not just wins, but relentless grit, unwavering focus, and deep respect for the sport. With 7 ASA championships to his name, Eddy became a symbol of consistency and endurance, often outlasting flashier names through sheer skill and perseverance. He was known as the polar bear, cool under pressure and unshakable in the driver's seat. For fans in the bleachers and fellow racers in the pit, Mike was a hero, not because he courted fame, but because he raced with heart. His story reminds us that greatness often lies in dedication, that legends are built not only on podiums, but in the everyday grind of those who never stop pushing forward. Bernard Kerik's life was defined by crisis and controversy, by frontline leadership and national scrutiny. Rising from humble beginnings to become the commissioner of the NYPD, he led the department through the harrowing aftermath of 9/11, earning praise for his visible courage during one of America's darkest hours. Later, as interim interior minister of Iraq, he took on the complex challenge of helping rebuild a shattered nation, a role fraught with peril and politics. Yet Kerik's career was as layered as the city he once served. Decorated and criticized, celebrated and condemned, his journey was one of extremes, but also of undeniable impact, whether lauded or debated. He remained a man who stood in the fire, who believed in action, who made decisions when few dared to. In the annals of New York and beyond, Bernard Kerik leaves behind a legacy that will be studied, remembered, and, perhaps most importantly, never ignored. Suzanne McDonald's hands turned silence into magic. As one of the world's foremost harpists, she transformed the classical music landscape with both her extraordinary performances and her visionary teaching. A former head of the harp department at Indiana University's Jacobs School of Music, McDonald nurtured generations of harpists, each touched by her grace, patience, and unmistakable artistry. Her playing was a form of storytelling. Every note a brushstroke on the canvas of emotion. She performed across global stages, her elegance commanding attention, her mastery redefining what the harp could say. In a world that often overlooks gentleness, Susan reminded us of its power. Through her students, her recordings, and her legacy in pedagogy, She created a lineage of sound that will ripple through concert halls and conservatories for decades to come. Beans Morocco is a face you remembered even if you didn't know the name, a character actor whose warm humor and quiet charisma made every scene he touched unforgettable. From his role in The American President to appearances in Star Trek, Voyager, Mork and Mindy, and beyond, he brought depth to the margins, color to the corners of cinema and television, with roots in the improvisational comedy scene and a heart that seemed custom-built for storytelling. Beans was beloved among peers and treasured by audiences. He never sought stardom. Instead, he offered something rarer: authenticity, whether delivering a single line or carrying a scene's emotional weight. He made viewers care. Off-screen, he was just as generous, nurturing fellow performers and always bringing levity and kindness into every room. He leaves behind a legacy of moments, small, perfect moments, that made entertainment feel like home. Deborah Pello ventured into the heart of urban Africa and emerged with stories that reshaped the field of anthropology. Her groundbreaking research focused on urbanization, gender, and space in Ghana, revealing how cities breathe, change, and speak to identity. Through works like Landlord and Lodgers, she opened windows into the everyday lives of West Africans, offering Western academia a much-needed perspective from the margins. Pello wasn't just a scholar. She was a bridge builder between cultures, disciplines, and people. At Syracuse University, she inspired countless students to question their assumptions and seek understanding beyond borders. Her work challenged stereotypes, elevated overlooked narratives, and brought human dignity to the forefront of ethnography. In an age hungry for cultural context and connection, Deborah's voice was both anchor and guide. Her legacy lives in the questions we now dare to ask, and the humanity we strive to see. Charles Wadsworth lived for music, and for sharing it with the world. A virtuoso pianist and the visionary behind the Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center, he transformed what many saw as an elite art form into something accessible, alive, and deeply human. His charisma, both on and off stage, was magnetic. As a guiding force behind the Spoleto festivals in both the U.S. and Italy, he curated performances that thrilled new audiences and ignited careers. With a warm wit and a knack for storytelling, Wadsworth didn't just play music. He revealed it, made it feel like a conversation among friends. He believed that chamber music wasn't about perfection, but about intimacy, about the breath between notes, about shared experience. As a mentor, he gave generously. As an artist, he gave everything. Today, his spirit lingers in every bow drawn, every key struck, every hush before a piece begins. Today, we remember scholars and showmen, composers and caretakers of culture, each one a vessel of something timeless. They enrich the world not with spectacle, but with substance. Through quiet revolutions in sound, thought, performance, and service, they etched their signatures on the soul of humanity. They taught us that meaning lies not only in what we do, but in how deeply we do it. With joy, with grace, with courage. As we close this day of remembrance, may we carry their notes, their words, and their wisdom forward. For in remembering them, we awaken the very best within ourselves.